Darling has more drama than I ever imagined a film could have, so don't worry. However, I must admit that in the end, I believe it to be superior. What? The film was released just a few days ago. And every facet of this movie has already been the subject of extensive discussion. Co-stars unfollowing one another, dubious interviews, and harsh criticism of Blake Lively's portrayal of the movie are a few examples. It's a disaster. Let's begin, then. You've undoubtedly seen the It Ends With Us footage shot in New Jersey if you're on TikTok. And there has been constant debate about it ever since. Things have been a touch chaotic from the beginning, with many individuals disliking the casting and clothing selections. And throughout the week of the publication, this propensity is still present. For those of you who are unaware, TikTok was a big factor in the popularity of Colleen Hoover's novel It Ends With Us. It is impossible to avoid seeing this book on a book talk rack when you visit an Indigo's or Chapter.
Guys, I took my girlfriend book shopping at Target and I asked her why all these books were backwards on the shelf. It's Colleen Hoover. And she said, ask TikTok, what is going on? Why are they backwards?
If you've never heard of Colleen Hoover or read any of her books, you could have picked this one up at the bookstore assuming it was some sort of adolescent romance, but it's actually quite different. Colleen Hoover has been accused of romanticizing unhealthy relationships for her younger audience in the musical that concludes with Us, which is about domestic abuse. According to one Reddit user, several of her posts specifically discuss or focus on domestic violence in violent or poisonous relationships. Some have been accused of romanticizing violent relationships or allowing storylines that swiftly shift from violence to forgiveness or moving on because they are mostly romance novels. I didn't know anything about It Ends With Us beforehand. Since I hadn't read it myself, other from that, it would be a sweet romantic comedy. As I mentioned earlier, it's actually quite the opposite. They did a good job at briefly summarizing the plot of the film, but instead have made it look even more hilarious. Throughout the week, the cast has been promoting themselves, and some have performed better than others. In an interview with CBS Mornings, director and actor Justin Baldoni discussed the film's very serious problems and his expectations for viewers, particularly men.
And I'm always going to come with my own biases. And it's one of the reasons I was afraid to direct this movie, let alone act in it. And I wanted to make sure this film always had a female gaze, and I was never putting myself into it. But one of the things that I think is very easy to say, especially for us men, is when we maybe talk to somebody who's in this situation, or we read a book, or we hear a news story, the question that's always asked is, why did she stay? And that's the wrong question.
Yeah.
What we need to be asking ourselves is, why do men harm?
Yes.
And that was the big thing for me. And what I've learned more and more and more of is, like, these women who experience this every single day, there's real love there. There's charm, there's charisma, there's passion, there's this belief that they can be better. And it's not so simple. So our friends that know more, I'm wearing their pin right now, they were the ones who really worked with me to help me make this film as truthful as.
And the fact that someone at last pointed out the DV in this film astounded the folks in the video's comments. One commenter said, "This is the first time I've heard anyone on the cast discuss the DV in this film. He is the only one drawing attention to the problem and subject when someone else writes." When asked similar questions, Blake Lively, who has also made news this week, has undoubtedly adopted a different tack.
If we're lucky enough to run into a celebrity in public, we only have a few moments to maybe speak with you guys. But for people who see this movie, who relate to the topics of this movie on a deeply personal level, they're really going to want to talk to you. This movie is going to affect people, and they're going to want to tell you about their lives. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for my address or my phone number or my location share. I could just location share you, and then we could. I'm just curious about
social security number.
I'm a Virgo, so I'm are we talking logistics? Are we talking
She also finds a way to avoid providing a meaningful response despite being specifically requested to remark on the DV in the movie.
Survivors of generational and domestic are going to see this film. I'm curious, what is the message that you hope that they take away from it?
I think that you are so much, and not to minimize it anyway, but you're so much more than just a survivor or just a victim. Well, that is a huge thing. You are a person of multitudes, and what someone has done to you doesn't define you. You define you, and what you have in you, and what you're capable of, and what you have done and are doing and will do is so much bigger than anything anyone else can do to you. And I think that that feels like it is so empowering and rooting and grounding. And I hope that people see that, because this is a story that covers domestic.
Another thing you might have noticed about these videos is that, when all of the main actors are in the same room, there are no press interviews. Blake and Justin are never seen together, and Justin and Colleen Hoover are never seen together. This makes fans wonder if there is a relationship between the cast members. Just a few months ago, Colleen Hoover and Justin had little issue being spotted together, but now they couldn't be further apart. Even though Justin seems to be the only one qualified to discuss the film's real problems, it's frustrating that he hasn't been mentioned in any of Colleen's interviews with Blake, the film's producer and star. This alleged discrepancy was actually documented by The Hollywood Reporter, and it appears that there might be some supporting data. According to insiders who spoke to The Hollywood Reporter, a disagreement between the filmmakers caused two distinct versions of the picture to emerge during post-production. Baldoni's conspicuous absence from joint press events, the absence of group photos of Lively and Baldoni together at Tuesday's New York premiere, and the fact that Baldoni follows Lively, Hoover, and the rest of the cast on Instagram were the main causes of the It Ends With Us investigation on TikTok. Hoover and Baldoni frequently appeared together on one another's Instagrams during the filming of the film, which sparked controversy. Justin has maintained his professionalism and spoken nothing but kind things about Colleen, Blake, and the rest of his cast in public, even in spite of this possible fracture in the group.
I realize how involved she was in this movie. She's a producer on the film from the beginning to the end. She was extremely involved, and she really made the film better. And there were many instances where I honestly just tried to get out of the way and let her take the lead. And especially when it came to intimacy and all of that, she had a very clear vision.
Recent reports, however, claim that Justin is currently collaborating with the same attorney who defended Johnny Depp during the Amber Heard trial and has since pursued crisis public relations. He appears to be conscious that his reputation is being harmed by the unfavorable reviews this movie has gotten and the criticism of Blake Lively's behavior, particularly now that industry insiders are beginning to voice their disapproval of the singer. She re-uploaded her 2016 interviews with Blake with the caption, "Blake Lively interview that made me want to quit my job," a few days ago. And here's a fair warning. It's challenging to watch.
Congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
You've got two nice ones.
They are kind of bumps, aren't they?
No, not bumps. The lovely lady lumps. Check it out.
Thank you.
Are
You like the movie? Are you a Woody Allen fan?
I love most of his movies, and this one was so visually amazing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Did you guys love wearing those kind of clothes that you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And working in
Everyone
digital.
wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
I would.
I love Jesse's suits and
That's
how
what I'm saying. His wardrobe was beautiful.
I know.
Corey's
Everybody.
wardrobe
I
was
know.
gorgeous.
He's
Those
so
high-waisted pants.
He's so
I
great.
would wish men
And
wore
sorry,
high-waisted
too.
pants
I
like
know.
that still.
Me
Or
too.
the father with his tank top.
Oh,
on
it's so
Just
good.
it's
Although there was nothing at all wrong with her questions, it almost seemed as though she was trying to make the interviewer look shallow or sexist by asking about her dress or congratulating her on her pregnancy. Blake's apparent hypocrisy following her It Ends With Us promotional tour was also addressed in one of the most popular comments. They claimed that Blake was enraged by the interview's dress issue. Blake's DV question about It Ends With Us. Take your women to the cinema and put on your flowers.
Love romance, and I love it as an audience member, and I love it in my real life, and I just really believe in romance. I think that Baz Luhrmann and I are probably the two people who love romance.
And the catastrophe of this movie doesn't stop there. Blake and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, are also accused of attempting to make It Ends With Us into a Barbie Oppenheimer movie. Deadpool and Wolverine, starring Ryan Reynolds, was released at the end of July. In the way they've been preparing for this film, they seem to be doing their hardest to reproduce that moment. Ryan even shared a video of himself during an It Ends With Us press junket.
The movie.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Oh God.
It's cool. It's not every day the husband gets to interview his wife's love interest in a film. It's kind of crazy.
I don't remember seeing this on the
Let's
schedule.
dive in, shall we? So I saw you posing in a photo with Mrs. Reynolds, and I'm sorry, what do you call her? Do you guys have a nickname or
No.
something? Okay, no, just so it's Mrs. Okay. I saw this photo. It was pretty suggestive. So I got it right here. I'm gonna get right to it. How do you explain that?
In order to highlight how limited his YouTube comments are in comparison to hers, which were unfettered, Blake then uploaded this video to her own Instagram. Someone said, "It seems strange to do a skit about a jealous husband while promoting a film about a jealous of husband. Excellent marketing strategy. The wrong film. Examine your surroundings. You had a genuine opportunity to address problems related to domestic abuse that many people face. You have the chance to make this into something lovely for ladies who struggle on a daily basis. You and your public relations team should feel bad about ignoring this. This film's promotion seems a touch strange. For heaven's sake, Justin Baldoni is the only company that puts their message first and doesn't use flowers to advertise their hair care products. Blake is also being criticized for this reason. She is also accused in several comments of not taking domestic abuse seriously and of being more concerned with marketing her new hair care product than raising awareness of the issue. Someone stated, "It's disgusting that you're using a movie about DV to dress up and sell your new products. You should feel ashamed as a woman that the filmmaker is the only one discussing the true problem with this film." A man. Justin's justice. Blake claims to be in her J-Lo phase and is currently getting a lot of compliments and comments for J-Lo. All I know is that Justin chose to employ that crisis PR at this particular moment since it sounds like such a bother to roll out. Since the most of the remarks seem to be very pleasant, I don't believe that any of the criticism is directed at him. Unless they believe that bad press doesn't exist, all of this criticism of Blake won't benefit the movie. Honestly, I didn't think a film could possibly surpass We're Here, Darling, but don't worry about the drama. In any case, I'll see you later, and feel free to leave any comments below. In any case, I'll see you later. Please feel free to leave any comments below. In any case, I'll see you later, and feel free to leave any comments below. Goodbye.